connection with you. You said what your first role in television, and at first you were like,
Yeah.
but you went on to study at Carnegie Mellon.
I did.
Acting program
Yes.
at the New Actors Workshop.
Yeah.
How was that?
Right.
What was it like studying there?
Oh, wow. Well, finally in my teens, I guess I got secure enough to because I love acting. The thing I love about acting it is not often the reasons why you get cast, which is probably another reason why I like to write my own material. Because of what I love about acting really is not playing anything really close to myself. I love to go against the type totally. I like to, disappear into something very different. I like to talk different, look different. I like to transform. That's what I love about acting. And as a teenager, I guess I finally went through whatever I had to go through to gain the confidence to say, okay, I do like acting, even though my family's in it, and maybe I can find my own identity. And that's what made me audition, for a conservatory and really train. And I did find my identity when I went away to Carnegie Mellon, the New Actors Workshop, and I found it on the stage. I was mostly trained for the stage and classically trained for the stage. And Carnegie Mellon was one of those, very desired conservatories to get into. And I was lucky enough to get into it. And it was very tough. Then when I went, they had the cut, where they, would take you, but then they would eliminate. And I'm not really, they don't do that anymore, but, and I'm still very close friends with somebody I went to school with that, we're having gone through that experience I think we're forever bonded, but it was a hard program. I remember a funny story. This is a really funny story. Yeah. The first week, I was a freshman. I'd never been away from home. A lot of the people that got in were from the High School of Performing Arts, and so very trained, young actors already. And the first week they put us in the big auditorium and we were going to do theater games. Okay. Theater games. Okay. I had never done theater games before.
Right.
When I was, a kid. And they all, the faculty all sat there with their notepads, and I thought, well, what, like writing notes and taking notes, and they had like this cut kind of thing system, where they can eliminate you. And even though they accepted you. And so I remember, oh God, I've never done this before. And I remember getting called up to the stage with my group. And and then all of a sudden I found myself behind some very tall boys. And I thought, okay, here's my moment. And I went backstage, I found a back door and I left and I went home. And on my way back to the dorm, I was completely horrified. I thought, oh my God, what have I done? Oh my God, they're gonna know, what have I done? And I remember calling home, oh my God, I just chickened out. I just walked out the back door. I didn't, I was scared. I didn't, they were critiquing. I didn't, and I didn't realize it was a very, very funny story. And so that was my first week, and then, you're in class all day, then at night, you're on crew, which is where you make costumes for all the seniors in the senior class. And then after crew, which ends like at 11, you're rehearsing. And then, back in the next morning at 7:30 or whatever. It was really tough, but, you really got close to your classmates. And, but the really great, when I went to New York, the New Actors Workshop, which was after that.
Yeah.
That was really great being in New York. And the New Actors Workshop was founded by Mike Nichols, director Mike Nichols.
Yeah.
He actually taught the second year. So I performed in front of Mike Nichols. And then Paul Sills, who's his mother was Viola Spolin, the great improvisation teacher, and Second City. And a lot of the comedians of Saturday Night Live came out of Second City, and he taught their improvisation. And then George Morrison was a great acting teacher. And, they'd have guest artists. They had Gene Hackman come. They, not in my year, I'm so upset, but they had Meryl Streep come and teach. And it was a very select group, a very small. Wow. And I think that was really a great training program. And
Oh,
so I really found my identity, away, from my family on my own on the East Coast on the stage. And
now here's a question. Do you prefer New York or LA?
oh boy. Um, hmm. Well, it's really, LA is my home. I was born here. My family's been here. I have so many memories as a child, here. I don't think I can choose. I think, I loved New York. It's a really different lifestyle. It was very exciting, being very young and being in New York. I think artistically, I think New York.
Mm,
If I had to choose, I'd say artistically New York. It was a very creative, place. I found it to be very supportive, among fellow actors, and very creative and supportive environment. And I don't know about LA. I don't know if it's the same. So I think I would have to say New York.
right, right. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, I visited New York several times,
Yeah.
and whenever I go there, it's just the energy is like,
Yeah, it is.
um,
It's a great place.
what is it going to about the piano and music? What is it about music that keeps you alive?
Boy. Um, I've always, I was born, I think, with this fascination for the classical piano music. I don't know, like my parents are not musicians. My father even used to joke that he's tone deaf, he was told in school that he should not sing in the choir because he was off key. And my sister and I sung as children, and then my sister went on to be a very good singer. And I always had this fascination with the piano. And
Have you ever done a show together? Like you playing the piano?
no, I never. She's always had musical directors and accompanists. I'm classically, although we could do that, we have never done that.
I just had a flash. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in for a second. I just had a flash of all three of you,
All right.
your sister and your mom on
Right.
stage.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Everybody kind of, we're close, very close knit on what we do away from our professional kind of interests.
Yeah.
So we've never really, although we have a company, and so we all kind of, K&K Productions, we all kind of support that, I think, but we're all very different.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, Kat has never asked me to play for her. I think she has her people, that she uses. But my interest in the piano is just I was born with it. I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
And I just love the feeling of what it feels like to play. There's a like kinesthetic relationship that you have with an instrument, or at least that I have. And I love the feeling of my fingers in the keys connected to the sound, and the whole physical experience of it. I love. It's very meditative. It's very transporting. It's very unconscious. There's like a whole world inside music, and the music itself is just so extraordinary. It just really, I just love everything.
Well, the way you're describing all this too, about where it comes from and all that, for the students that are out there, because we're of course Performing Arts Studio West is here watching, and the Meet the Biz program, and of course YouTube, everybody on YouTube land. For the students and the fellow artists out there who have ideas, how do you tell them to begin to either pick up the pen or create a project that's I don't know, within them? So something that we all want to, sometimes we all want to wallow in the ideas, but it never happens. But how do you make it happen?
Well, I think one of the things that I think is really important is don't assume that other people know better than you. I mean, just don't, just don't assume that other people are the key to your success. Really, I mean, I hate to say that it was a lot of hard knocks that got me to that place, because I really didn't feel truthfully that I fit any possibilities anymore. After I came out of school, which was like a really important time to go forward in my career, you know, I actually was diagnosed with lymphoma. And so I'm a cancer survivor, and you know, I went through a lot of treatments over a few years. You know, in my acting career was, you know, I was fighting cancer at a pretty young age. And so, you know, I felt like that was kind of derailed. And then in my musical life, like I said, I don't fit the box. I'm a very serious musician, and you know, I don't want to be thought of as any different than anybody that aspires to play at a really high level, you know, but I also felt like, okay, well, you know, that's a certain way you do that. And I know I don't do competitions, and I don't, you know, I didn't start when I was 4. So I guess, you know, don't assume that other people know better than you, you know. Don't feel discouraged if you feel like you don't fit anything, because I feel like those were the key elements that really propelled me to pick up a pen and just do it, you know. And why not, you know. But in some ways, the more discouraged, the more you feel like you don't fit, you know, the more, you know, it's sort of a catalyst, at least it was for me. And just to not be afraid, because ultimately you can't really control what other people think. You know, we think we can. We think if we do certain things that will get us there. If we, you know, if just certain people like us or whatever, but that's not always the case. And, you know, even with my own film, I thought, well, these people, when they see my film, these people, in, you know, my mind, I imagine those are the people that are really going to like it. And probably these people are not going to like it. And, you know, it was the exact opposite. The people that had experienced trauma, that were women that I thought, you know, oh, they're really good. This is like, they're going to get this. They were not the ones that got it. It was completely an opposite type person that got it. And really got behind me and really connected to it. And that was like a wake up call. So you can't predict so don't assume somebody else holds the power, because they don't, because you have no control over it. You just have to do it. And I would also say, be very disciplined. You know, it's like in the morning, I do my music. In the morning, I practice all my new repertoire and do all my music stuff. And in the afternoons or in the evenings, I write. So it's good to have like a scheduled time, that even if you can't, like I've had times where I'm working on a script that I open to the page and nothing comes. But what you're not aware of is, even though you're maybe only write one word, your whole idea, your whole being is really working on it. And you don't really know it. Unconsciously, you're working on it because you're there, you're committed to that time period. And so something is happening, and then you realize, you know, the next day, oh, something comes to you. And so it's a process. I think scheduled time and just not being afraid. I mean, you just can't be afraid to put out your own work and have your own vision. And you cannot be afraid of what other people say, because no matter what, some people are going to like it and some people don't. But if you commit to your vision and follow it with your whole heart and soul, you can't really fail. You can't really fail, because there's a certain satisfaction in accomplishing your vision. And so, and then you just have to keep going. So just just don't give up. So
thank you for that.
Absolutely.
It's interesting, because I'm working on this project now that I feel like I've come to a wall.
Yes.
It's like, okay. Luckily, I have this mind that says, okay, how are we going to either get over it, get under it, find the door?
Exactly.
And what you were saying really inspired me. You know, when we come to that little place, it's like, oh, okay, Yeah, it's right here, right in front of you. And the other thing that you said too, just do it. That's what
Yes,
you channeled my dad for me.
yes, okay,
So
yes,
because he used
yes,
to say, just do it.
exactly. Just, yeah, I mean, there is, you just, there is, you have to get to a place where you just say there is no fear. I mean, it's there's always fear, but I mean, you just, um, you have to get to the place where you welcome fear and you just, there's the satisfaction in accomplishing your goal and your vision, and just getting to the point where you say, well, take me or leave me, but you just go forward and you just do it. um
And that's what you do in your films. That's
that's what
what,
even my film, it's like it doesn't really fit a category. And
right.
so in that in of itself is an obstacle. It's not a music video. It's not, it's very music based. It has a lot of it has not a lot of dialogue, but and apparently it was really hard to find a category for it in festivals. But you know, I just I'm just going to keep doing it. I just feel like
Well, it comes from you.
yeah, it comes from, I think that's the most important thing, that if something comes from you, I think that's the goal, I think, of an artist, is that you put out what is authentic. And so you can't be afraid of what's authentically you.
Right, right.
Yeah.
What what brings you the most joy in life?
Oh boy, what brings me the most joy in life? Hmm. Well, I do, when the most is hard. I love it when my family is doing well. I love it when especially I love it when my mother is very well and happy. That gives me a lot of joy. I love animals.
Mm.
I'm a big animal lover, I have to tell you. And I had a little dog for many years, 16 and a half years. Um, and we have some apparently stray kitties living around our area, and I'm out there with food feeding them, and I'm getting in a little dome house for the winter because I don't think they have shelter. I love animals. They bring me a lot of joy. I love nature. I love the beauty of nature. I love to communicate through my work. I think makes me feel very happy and satisfied when I bring joy, either performing my music, or people learn something or get inspired, or are emotionally carried on a journey through my films or my performances or my characters or my playing. Just to have an impact uh, gives me a lot of satisfaction and pleasure. And I think those are the things that probably make me the most happy.
What do you want the most at this moment in
Mm.
your life?
Well, I'm not even sure that you know this, but my mother was diagnosed with cancer in 2020. And I think what I want the most in my life right now is for her to be well and be, cancer free, and just live the rest of her life, uh, well, without having to have any more experiences with cancer. I think that would be,
Yeah.
and just for her to have wonderful golden years of, good health and happiness, and whatever she wants to do in her work, and then, happiness within the family, I think. But her well-being, I think, is what I would want most in my life right now.
Well, she's so amazing
She is.
and lovely and wonderful, and she's a healer. I mean,
He is a healer.
she lifted my mom when we had that little conversation last week on Zoom. Just lifted my mom up. She was like night and day,
Well, everybody loves my mother. We had a doctor's appointment the other day,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't let me in, because of all the COVID. I wasn't on like the visitor list, so I had to
Right.
sit outside. So there was a woman that was in the waiting for her appointment when we first went in, when they were telling me I had to sit outside. And so my mother went in, I was sitting outside, and that same woman came up to me, and she says, I'm so sorry you couldn't go in. And then she says, that woman that looks like Karen Kramer. I said, well, that is Karen Kramer. Said, oh my God. She says, oh my God, I was a friend of your oldest sister, and I was at your other sister's baby shower. And oh my gosh, your mother is the most beautiful woman. She hasn't changed. I just remember her, I was 10 years old, and your mother was just the most beautiful, sweet, so people from, remember her from many years ago. And
Well,
so she's very, she has that way. And
I tell you, a beautiful family. I mean,
Oh,
she brought up two amazing daughters, and more than that, she had brought up the whole family, and your father. And it's so nice to see that, coming around, again, to the quote, royal Hollywood royalty is it's such a real family with real love and
yes.
lots to give.
A lot of personalities, but yeah, real love, a lot of artistic people,
Yes, thank God for that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
thank you. This is wonderful. Any other words of advice or thoughts or anything about anything?
Oh my goodness. Just, my motto is just to never give up. And that's what I always, first of all, I still feel like I'm learning. I don't feel like I'm know any answers really. I'm just on my journey, like everybody else is on their journey. I'm still learning. I'm still, I'm trying to improve. I have been through a lot in my life, a lot. And I think the most important thing that I can impart to people is just not to ever give up. And you just keep going. As hard as it gets, no matter how discouraged, no matter how hard things get, you just wake up and put one foot in front of the other. And that's all you have to do. It kind of simplifies things, and you just keep moving, and you keep, you keep growing, and you keep trying, and you just never give up. So it's my motto.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Fellow Aquarian.
Fellow Aquarian. Oh my God. Now, now we're gonna have to have some sort of a birthday thing.
I know. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
I look forward to that.
I do too. I absolutely do too.
Send love to your family and your mom.
I will. And I haven't met your mother, but you send my love to your mother as well.
I will.
And it was a really nice talking to you.
You too.
Yes,
all right.
Okay. Bye.